Alright, Shove It Squad, here we go then, continuing with the After the Damn War series from 2010, and it's time for a pay-per-view review. On reflection, TNA Impact seemed to have improved a lot after they tried and failed to beat the WWE in the Monday Night War. It's almost like they got a bit more focused after that. Now, I haven't watched this particular pay-per-view since it aired, and I can't remember if it was good or not. But one thing's for sure, it's a bit of a diarrhea sandwich because Victory Road 2009 and 2011 are often regarded as TNA's worst two pay-per-views. So does this one go some way to redeeming the name a bit? After all, it is described as the hottest pay-per-view event of the summer. Alright, from 2010 is Victory Road. I can't decide which one of Hogan or Bischoff looks more like a toad. Unfortunately, we're in the impact zone as usual. It always makes TNA pay-per-views feel like less of a big deal because the setting is always the same. We're going to open up with the X Division title on the line. It's going to be an Ultimate X match where you can also win by submission. Brian Kendrick versus the defending champion Doug Williams. Williams actually lost a ladder match to one of the Buck boys over on Impact. I guess in order to hype up the fact that he's too scared to climb up the ladder, but I don't see what the big deal is when he could just win this match by submission anyway. Williams is great, and that's one of the very few things in life where the Hawk and the leader of the Grey Crew, Eric Bischoff, have common ground. Doug desperately tries to climb straight away, but then he gives up. This match is gonna be dumb, isn't it? Douglas hits a knee in the corner into a suplex. He floats over into a bridging chin lock which makes the crowd gasp. Kendrick survives that move and swipes away Williams' dive and drop kicks him. Kendrick gets his Cobra clutch fought off and Williams hits a spinning reverse elbow. Good to see Viscera front and central for this show. Kendrick tries the same submission again. Williams isn't having that and does a sort of backpack stunner. Kendrick wakes up and does manage some offense finally and sends Williams from the ring. That leads to Kendrick trying a submission in the Tree of Woe. Brian thinks he's weakened him enough now and starts to climb. Doug wakes up and hits a massive back suplex from the ring pole. They go back to trading submission holds. Kendrick finally gets his Cobra clutch locked in. This time, Doug falls out of the ring with Kendrick refusing to let go. Brian Kendrick is obsessed with this move. Taz points out that he's a weirdo with hypervision. They climb up the metal structure and Doug manages to knock him down. Doug is too scared to stay up there though. Williams gets some gloves. For some reason that gives him the confidence to climb, but Kendrick is quicker than he is. They both slop down to the mat. Williams applies a submission as Mike Tenay frantically explains if Kendrick's arm drops again the match will be over, but before that can happen, the ref comically rings the bell. One of the worst Ultimate X matches of all time. The stipulation completely ruined the match and neither guy looked particularly good here. Christy Hemme is in the back with a massive Bubba Ray. He's pale and he's angry. He calls Jesse Neal a failure, just like Christy Hemme's magazine appearance. Believe it or not, explaining what the magazine actually was is an automatic age restriction on the video. He also insults his brother Devon, saying that he made his career. He spits in Hemme's face, bullying her and asking her if she's about to cry. This one will be a triple threat. Bubba Ray versus the man with a mohawk, Jesse Neal. Bubba jumps in from behind on the ramp, and the third guy in the match is supposed to be Devon Dudley, but he doesn't appear. Basically, the Dudleys trained Jesse Neal, but then Bubba Ray got jealous of Jesse Neal's success, and he's been bullying him since, with Devon being forced to pick a side, but he won't do it. A backstage camera shows that Devon Dudley has been locked in his room. He's screaming, "Open the door." Why doesn't the cameraman open it? The ref just rings the bell. Bubba instantly takes Jesse's head off. He hits a back body drop as Jesse screams in pain. The crowd are behind the man with a mohawk. Big boot from Bubba Ray now. The ECW guys march out into the crowd as they do every week, and this distracts Bubba. When he turns around, Jesse hits a mohawk spear for a 2. Jesse half-heartedly tries something else, but runs into Bubba's elbow. Bubba Ray wants to use a chair. Jeff Hardy's stoner friend Shannon runs down to try and save Jesse, which backfires as this distracts the ref and Bubba uses the chair. Surely the ref can hear it being used, it sounded like a gunshot going off. Bubba is very happy now, but Devon Dudley has managed to escape. The brothers square up in the ring. To my surprise, they do a fake out that Devon loves Bubba, but then he attacks him. Jesse tries another spear, but this one hits Devon. Bubba hits the Bubba Bomb ass buster to Jesse, and it's over. Well, that wasn't very good. Very overbooked, and it hasn't really solved any of the issues here. The crowd chant EC dub. Next up! I know what's coming now because I recently watched this match for another video. This one's going to be really bad, I'm sorry guys, and it's very stupid too. Angelina Love will challenge for the Knockouts title. Madison Rain is the champion. Her attire is the best thing about this match. Definitely a bold choice. If Angelina Love loses this match, she gets fired, and if either of Lacey Von Erich or Velvet Sky interfere for Madison, the belt will change hands. Both of these girls were formerly in the same Beautiful People faction, but when Angelina Love had visa issues, Madison took over the group and became the champion. Madison is on her first title reign here, and she's doing this career killer gimmick where she has retired Roxy and Tara already. We start with an aggressive brawl. Angelina starts hitting haircut takedowns. Yay, a spear, even though we've just seen 2 in the last match. They fight on the outside where Angelina Love continues winning. She gets a 2 back in the ring. What on earth is going on? Angelina Love hits another spear. Must have been as common as a cutter back then. Madison grabs an eyelash and barges Angelina into the corner. She hits a swinging net breaker for a 2. Here comes the Madison Reigns special. Taz is a massive fan of this move and thinks it's very special. He almost turns from orange to red. That seems to wake Angelina Love up. She hits a jawbreaker and a spinning heel kick. Madison stops her finisher with her knee. She decides to grab a steel chair. It backfires and Angelina Love hits the Botox kick into the chair. She doesn't make a cover for some reason. Instead, a helmeted mystery biker person rides out. Angelina Love gorms out like she's doing a zombie gimmick. The biker attacks Angelina and the referee, so he rings the bell. Madison Reigns celebrates, but soon the smile is wiped off her face. The referee believes that the biker is either Lacey or Velvet, so he awards the title to Angelina Love, even though he had 0 proof. You can even see black hair hanging down from the helmet when the other 2 girls are blondes. This would lead to Madison Reigns leaving the Beautiful People. 3 horrible pointless matches in a row. This is truly living up to the reputation of Victory Road. Christy Hemme meets with Mr. Anderson backstage. He addresses his fatal 4-way match tonight. One of the men in the match will be his friend Jeff Hardy, and he compares it to a left butt cheek facing a right butt cheek. He tries to demonstrate using her Hemmies. I'd say she wasn't paid enough, but she was paid more than the other knockouts, so she has that going for her. He says he's going to be like Dr. Frankenstein when he controls the monster abyss, and he also says Rob Van Dam's title aspirations will go up in flames as he starts, well, you can see what he's doing. Sadly, this promo is the best thing on the show so far. Well, here comes AJ Styles and Kazarian, so you'd think things were about to improve, but there's 2 problems. Number 1, these 2 are partners who don't get on, and Ric Flair has forced them to team together tonight in an effort to try and bury the hatchet. The second problem is going to be the mystery opponents. It's going to be the Welsh Roider Rob Terry. Randomly, his partner is Samoan Joe. Okay, only half the team is bad, but anything involving the Welsh Roider instantly makes me puke. At this point, we are 50 minutes into the show, and it's one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. Kaz and AJ argue because neither of them wants to face the Welsh Roider. He barges Kaz over, who lands in a handstand position and can't get out of it. Joe beats Kaz and AJ up on the outside, and he gets tagged in. He does his famous nope spot. Terry is back in, causing Kaz to dump in his nappy of fear and tag AJ. Styles' fancy footwork won't help him, and both Styles and Kaz are launched out of the ring. Joe hits a big dive into them. He gets AJ back in the ring and nails a kick in the corner. Styles spits on Rob Terry to turn the match as the heels cheat and Kaz hits a slingshot DDT for a 2. They have now realised that they need to work together to win this one. Kaz assists AJ with a DDT on the angry Samoan for another 2. AJ can't hit the Styles Clash, but he rolls through into a pin before trying the Clash again, and again it fails. Instead he hits a Pele kick. Then AJ runs into the Uranagi for a double down. The Welsh Roider has the tag. He throws AJ and Kaz into the corners and back body drops Kaz and press slams Styles. Kaz ducks his spin kick, but his crossbody is caught and Terry throws him with a sack of shit. Now it's a suplex into a power slam. This is probably Rob Terry's best ever match. Kaz takes some cheap shots, so Joe rushes the ring and the match breaks down. Joe goes for the muscle buster when Desmond Wolfe randomly grabs the Samoan Joe. Kaz dives on Joe with an axe handle smash. Rob Terry is very distracted. He doesn't see AJ coming with a flying forearm to the back of the head. Kaz hits a springboard dropkick and a leg drop, and AJ finishes off the Roider with a springboard 450. Kaz and AJ are very happy and seem to be friends again now. Wolfe seems to want to join Fortune. He soon regrets that though, as Joe goes to town on Wolfe, who is just a complete jobber at this point in his career. Most of the match was unbearable, but admittedly, it did turn around and become better than I expected. In the back somewhere, Abyss is bragging about his new weapon Janice. He says he was told to make this stick by a mystery they personal persons. He says they will be coming to TNA soon. His opponents will find out tonight what a bitch his weapon can be. Next up, the Blueprint Matt Boring takes on Supermex Hernandez in a cage. These two were formerly tag team partners, but Morgan turned into a dick and crushed his partner's head into the ring pole. He put him out of action for a few months. Morgan has been running from Hernandez for weeks since, but he won't be able to run in this one. Hernandez quickly messes up Morgan's nutsack and hits a crazy springboard dropkick. Morgan keeps getting sandwiched. This one might be over quickly, but Hernandez misses his third attempt. It's Morgan's turn to keep throwing Hernandez into the metal. Morgan connects with a discus clothesline. This crowd sound restless. He tries to escape but hasn't done enough damage yet. He throws rapid fire elbows in the corner to calm Hernandez down. Supermex kicks him in the gut and pulls himself up to the top rope. Bad choice as Morgan boots his head off. Matt Morgan doesn't seem to be in a rush to leave and Taz is livid about this and confused. He moves out the door in slow motion, but then he pauses with 1 foot out the door. He has second thoughts and kicks Hernandez in the head again. So let me get this straight. Heel Matt Morgan fairly and easily destroyed Hernandez and could have won, but due to his own incompetence, he didn't do it. This doesn't make Hernandez look like a good face, it makes him look weak. Big Matt is having a good old time in there. He rubs his opponent's face against the cage and stretches his body across the ropes. Once again, Morgan can leave, but he can't be bothered. Hernandez finally wakes up and hits clotheslines. He hits the get off me, but it's probably the worst that move has ever looked. He struggles to pick up Morgan for the border toss and they collapse. I'm not sure if it was a botch, I guess we're going to find out. Well yeah, it was a botch because once again Hernandez picks him up and powerbombs him whilst falling over. The crowd are in silence and they're really fed up at this point. Hernandez climbs up the cage. He decides that he wants to dive. Oh wow, he does it, but completely misses his splash. I forgot this ever happened. That woke the crowd up. Matt Morgan handcuffs him to the ropes. Morgan's turn to climb. I can't see this guy hitting a dive. Hernandez snaps free from the handcuffs and he dives headfirst through the cage door to win the match. I actually really like that ending. A bad match with a cool last 2 minutes. I think in the end they did just about enough to move past the botches to a perfectly acceptable match. The show has picked up, thankfully. It was rough and rocky to start though. Some people had probably turned it off at this point. In the back is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He insults Jay Lethal for his decision to try and copy everything that he does. He says he's so pissed off that he's going to beat Jay Lethal back to his mummy where she will need to breastfeed him back to health. Okay, Jay Lethal versus Ric Flair. This feud has been going on for months. Flair has sent his Fortune faction after Lethal, but none of them have been able to beat him. Meanwhile, Lethal has been doing some incredible Ric Flair impersonations which will make anyone's top 10 TNA moments. Flair is also bringing it with his promos and really earning his TNA paycheck. 61-year-old Ric Flair versus 25-year-old Jay Lethal. Shows how much healthier everybody is nowadays. To me, Ric Flair looks 80 here. Lethal with the first knockdown and Flair almost looks impressed. Lethal steals his hair flip gimmick. Lethal continues winning with a leapfrog dropkick. Flair also takes his favourite bump, the bat body drop, and he's smashed out of the ring. Flair tries to suplex him out of the ring, but Lethal turns it around on him. A dropkick gets Lethal a 2 count. He also hits a missile dropkick for another 2. Flair grabs an eyelash to slow him down. Ric Flair goes to town with chops and the entire building join in. Lethal has his own chops too. Flair starts jabbing at thin air and collapses to the floor to loud cheers. Rick grabs another eyelash now and climbs to the top. Lethal stops him and hits a top rope superplex. Jay Lethal misses his follow-up moonsault though. Ric Flair hits a chop block now and he's taking his time. Flair is clearly winning, but he keeps getting distracted fighting with referee Hebner. The distractions prove costly and Lethal almost rolls him up. The match has moved to a snail's pace, but the crowd are still into it. Lethal is still stealing Flair's moves. He does a sunset flip and pulls down Ric Flair's nappy. Unfortunately, I remember this too clearly. The crowd puke in their nappies. Jay Lethal hits him with a crossbody and a splash to Flair's knees. Lethal chop blocks him again and puts on the figure 4. This causes Flair to tap out pretty quickly. Jay Lethal has won and he gets the mic and screams, "Mum, I did it." A huge win in the career of Jay Lethal. But somehow, TNA would drop the ball and they'd release Jay Lethal just a few months after this, making this whole feud and storyline a little bit pointless. Probably Ric Flair's best TNA match. It wasn't incredible or anything, but it was more of a spectacle and the match was far better than most people would hope for. Jeff Hardy is backstage. He promises to get high tonight and become the world champion. The tag title's on the line now. Beer Money and the Motor City Machine Guns will fight for the vacant tag belts. The belts were vacated when the champions Scott Hall and X-Pac were fired from the company. This one should be good. Alex Shelley gets us started with a head scissors. Saban also does well with a DDT whilst kicking down Storm. James Storm falls on his own partner trying to break up the pin. Saban then punts Storm's head off and hits a crossbody to Rude for a 2. Bobby Roode gets kicked and crushed in the corner. It's all the guns so far. Beer Money do turn the match eventually, but not for long as Saban snaps off a Hurricanrana. His second one is blocked by Rude and James Storm hits the Eye of the Storm. Shelley returns and gets a catapult into double knees for a 2 count. Chris Saban breaks up Beer Money's finisher. The Guns kick James Storm out of the ring and Saban also dives on him. Bobby Roode hits a dive out the ring but can't celebrate for long because Shelley also dives on him. Storm has a beer bottle but I don't think he wants to drink it. He sprays it but hits the referee by mistake. The Guns hit the Skull and Bones but the ref is blinded and can't count. Hebner arrives but he only gets a 2 count. Saban with another dive out of the ring. Just like on Impact, Shelley dives on Rude with a crossbody who turns the pin over, but it only gets a 2 this time. The Guns work together to kick Bobby Roode's head off, then completely out of nowhere we get a double pinning situation. The match is ruled as a draw and the match must restart. The Guns quickly hit backstabbers and Bobby Roode is beaten by the Skull and Bones. You know, I hate it when they restart a match only for it to end 10 seconds later. Very common occurrence in TNA, but this was a good match and match of the night up to this point. Next up, we got the Pope D'Angelo De Niro versus Kurt Angle. The story here is that Kurt Angle is working his way through the top 10 heavyweight rankings and the Pope is ranked number 8. The Pope, meanwhile, has been out injured for a few months, so not really sure how he managed to even get a ranking. Not really a fun or fair first match back for him, but TNA can be dicks sometimes. It's a face versus face matchup. Just a few months before this, the Pope had almost become the heavyweight champion, but the Hulkster changed the plans and didn't want to see him as the champ. They trade holds straight away, so we're probably going to get a technical match here. Pope does some hip tosses and shoulder tackles. Kurt Angle dumps in his singlet with fear and leaves the ring. Pope welcomes him back into the ring nicely. Angle hits a buckle bomb, which isn't a move you'd normally associate with Kurt. Angle gets a few near falls, but it's nothing incredible. There's just no heat to this match. We get a double down and the crowd sound tired. It's Pope's turn to try and hit some moves, but he can't really do much damage and he runs into an overhead belly to belly for a 2. The Pope steals a page from Angle's book with German suplexes but can't keep it going, and then he almost wins the back heel trip. He looks frustrated and doesn't know what to do next. He misses his knees in the corner and it's Kurt's turn to show him how to do Germans without release. Kurt attempts the Angle slam, Pope reverses that and hits a pimp slap and a dive against the ropes. He takes too long on the top though and Angle scrambles up and suplexes him from there for a 2. Moments later, Kurt Angle crashes shoulder first into the ring pole. The Pope thinks about his finisher, the DDE, and he hits it. Kurt kicks out of his finisher. I thought the Pope usually did that move in the corner, not sure they screwed up here. Pope misses the next move and Kurt hits the Angle slam, just a 2. Then the Bean kicks in. I miss being able to say that. Force a habit. The Prime kicks in. He puts on the ankle lock, but the Pope refuses to tap out and almost rolls him up. The Pope comes close with another roll up. Angle slips out of that and grapevines the Pope's ankle for the tap out win. This was okay, it wasn't the intense Kurt Angle match you usually get on TNA pay-per-view. Kurt Angle would continue working his way through the top 10 rankings, whilst the Pope's career would be all downhill from here as he was involved with sillier and sillier storylines, completely killing off any of his aura. No Job Rob Van Dam gives an interview before his title defense. He says he plans on taking Abyss's bat and shoving it up his ass. Just that main event to go, a fatal 4-way for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Mr. Anderson versus the Monster Abyss versus Jeff Hardy versus the champion RVD. The Abyss has recently turned heel, attacking the Hulkster and destroying the TNA roster. It's almost been a career rebirth for him. Meanwhile, Anderson has started turning face with his friendship with Jeff Hardy, but still nobody really trusts him. For some reason, Anderson stares intently during Borash's introduction. Abyss starts as a dominant force, even with 3 guys fighting him at once. The 3 guys' egos get in the way though, they all want to smack the monster one. RVD does a monkey flip to Abyss. Hardy gets assistance on a flip dive out of the ring to Abyss. Mr. Anderson turns on RVD though and almost rolls him up. Funny facial expressions from both guys. Rob hits the windmill kick and a spinning leg drop. The Rolling Thunder gets broken up by the returning Abyss, sending Rob into a fence. Hardy and Anderson team up to smack Abyss now. He goozles both of them but can't do anything and they barge him down. Double leg drops now from the enigmatic assholes. Anderson turns on Hardy during a poetry of motion and Hardy and RVD fight. Jeff kicks RVD and hits a front suplex for a 2. RVD then randomly dives out of the ring into Abyss, which I didn't even see coming. Jeff with a dive too. Mr. Anderson teases a dive for ages and when he does it, it sucks. Abyss hasn't been able to land a single move in this one due to all the teaming up. Back in the ring and Rob Van Dam hits a split-legged moonsault to the back of Anderson. Jeff breaks up the pin, but Rob kicks Hardy's head in. They do a big tower spot with Rob getting the worst of that one. Abyss finally has the advantage. RVD blocks his chokeslam with a kick and gives him a springboard back heel kick. Single leg thrust kick now. Mr. Anderson slows him down by throwing him into the ramp. He's gone for a while from that. Jeff Hardy hits the Whisper in the Wind to Abyss for a 2 count. It continues going badly for Abyss as Mr. Anderson hits the mic check for another 2. The monster finally manages to do something now and reverses the Twist of Fate and hits the Black Hole Slam. Mr. Anderson just about pulls the ref out of the ring. The assholes start brawling now. They reverse finishers and they even reverse signature moves. Now Hardy does hit the Twist of Fate. Jeff can't make a pin after the Swanton Bomb though with the Monster Abyss returning. He chokeslams Jeff on top of Anderson. Abyss makes a cover, but Rob Van Dam flies into the ring for Frog Splash for the 3. Yeah, pretty fun main event, breathless. I think the time was probably right here to have Abyss capture the belt as he was the man with the momentum and RVD is just kind of boring as the champion. Always thought this guy is better chasing. Abyss has nasty intentions for Rob. He grabs his stupid bat Janice. Rob runs away and Abyss is left looking frustrated, so no real payoff here, nothing solved. This pay-per-view definitely started appallingly. The first half was terrible, but the quality almost picked up on a match-by-match basis, and by the end, it was an above-average show. That's if you made it through the first 4 or 5 matches. What star power on this roster at the time though, really exciting stuff. It wasn't as bad as the other Victory Road shows, but it could have been, and if you don't agree with that, I'll rip out your spleen.